Okay, now on my last video I told about my story about how I began using Sea-90. So now if you've came this far, you should ask the question, what is Sea-90, how do I use it, and how and why does it work? Well, again, you have to work with nature, and sometimes nature can be pretty complicated, but if you stand back and look at it, it's really pretty simple, and I'll give you the simple version for now. But what Sea-90 is basically a substance that pretty much looks and feels like rock salt, and you can eat it. And it's probably the only fertilizer I could think of that I would actually recommend for people to eat. You know, use it in place of salt. But in any case, all it is basically ocean water that's been pushed into land and just dried out, and then what you got left is Sea-90. It's very simple. So why does this stuff work? Well, the mineral deficiency problem in most farmland is probably a lot worse than I ever thought, and maybe you too. Let's think about the ocean for a minute. Where did all the salt and stuff in the ocean come from? Well, the land all drains off into the ocean, right? So basically, when you're using Sea-90, there's a good chance you're just putting back what is washed off of the land many years ago. That's what I think. Man, that's what I'm going to stick with. But in any case, back in the 1930s, medical science knew that there was such a thing as perfect blood chemistry. Now, they couldn't measure it and everything, but they knew it when they seen it somehow. Then later on, somehow they discovered that this perfect blood chemistry also is the same perfect chemistry for animals and for grass and trees and everything. And then this Dr. Murray here, he had figured out that this perfect chemistry was what the ocean was made out of. Now that sounds pretty preposterous, but think about this. This is just the work of the common carrier, water. Take all the minerals, the naturally occurring minerals on the world, throw them in the water in an abundant quantity, and let them do their thing, and what will come out is a very complex formula of all the elements in a perfect order, perfect sequence, and a perfect balance, or any which way you want to measure it. It comes out perfect naturally. So when you're taking Sea-90, and when you get it, it comes in a 50-pound sack usually, and you're putting it out on the land. Pasture and range applications, pretty much just 50 pounds an acre. I just use a common little old seed spreader to put mine out, nothing fancy there. So it's easy to use, and at that application rate you really can't mess up. So don't worry about being perfect, because there's been tests going, as seen in this little book here, which by the way is one that changed my view of the world. They've tested all the way up to a ton per acre, and that's a little bit expensive to do if you have my kind of budget, but 50 pounds an acre is a pretty astounding yield. And then when you compound that with other good practices out in the field, such as I did with just simple pasture renovating and what all have you, the yields will increase, the product quality will increase, and everything that uses that grass or your crop downstream from there just benefits from it. Like I say, I'm mainly just into pasture and hay, but I have a few beef cows, and we've butchered a few calves. And when the butcher, he looks through all the organs and everything, he finds no spots on the liver, no problems on the pancreas. This was a healthy animal, healthier than a lot of others that he sees. And so imagine what that does for you if you was to eat things out of your garden and do that. It makes me think that the food that I'm producing has medicinal qualities. It may have. But in any case, that is pretty much what Sea-90 is, just a simple rock salt looking substance. And it's very easy to use. In a garden, I would say to one put out 2.5 pounds per 100 square feet. That's 2.5 pounds per 100 square feet, and don't worry about being exact. But what you'll probably notice is a decrease in the amount of bugs eating your garden. That's another story for another day, but it's been observed around here. But in any case, why, I hope that helps you out with trying to figure out what Sea-90 is and how it works. GoPro, turn off.